So the last method you can solve a system by is by elimination. So we're going to break it into parts. So the first type is for elimination is what if I can just go ahead and add them together. So what that means is we're going to try and eliminate one of these variables by adding the two equations together. So for example, I'm going to look to see if my x's or my y's would add to 0 when I added them together. So in this case, when I add my x's, it would eliminate to 0. So we would go ahead and add the rest. So when I add my y's, I get 8y. I add my constants and I get 24. So then I can solve real fast for y by dividing by 8, and y is 3. Now just like in substitution, you still have to plug back in to find your answer. You can choose whichever equation you would like. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the top one and substitute y as 3. So I'm going to put 3 in the y spot and write out the rest of my equation. Now I'm going to solve it. So 3 times 3 is 9. I want to move the 9 over, so I'm going to subtract, and I got 2. Now at this point is where I divide, so I divide by 2 and x is 1. So then I can write my ordered pair as 1, 3. You're going to pause the video and try the next one. So on the next one, when you look at your equations, you should be adding them, and when you add them, your y should be adding to 0. So when you added your x's, you should be getting 2x and negative 2. So then I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides, and I would get x equaling negative 1. I still have to substitute back in, so again, you can pick either equation. I just put it in the top one. So I'm going to replace negative 1 in the x since it says x equals. So I have 4 times negative 1 minus 3y equals 5. I'm going to multiply, so I get negative 4. I need to move my like term to the other side, so I'm going to add 4 over, so I got 9. And then I'm going to divide by negative 3, so my y equals negative 3. Final answer, then I write it as an ordered pair of negative 1, negative 3. Now sometimes when you get ready to do these, when I get ready to add them, they don't add to 0. So in this case, notice when I add 3y and 3y, it doesn't eliminate. So here's where we have to do an extra step. We have to multiply by negative 1 so that it'll change these signs and this can become negative. So the top equation, I'm not going to change it. It's going to stay as is. But the bottom equation, I'm going to multiply each of these terms by negative 1. So this will become negative 5x. This will become a negative 3y. This will become a positive 2. So a student's error is usually when they don't multiply all the way across. So pay attention to multiplying and your negatives. Alright, so now I check. If I add my y's, it will eliminate to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and add my x's, so negative 1. Add my constants is 4. Divide by this negative 1, and I would get x equaling negative 4. You can plug it into any equation. So now I have 1, 2, and then even a third option of after I multiplied. So it's up to you which one you would like to go to. I'm going to go back to this original one that's on the top. So I'm going to put negative 4 in this x spot, and then I'm going to go ahead and multiply these two so I get negative 16. Add the 16 over so I get 18. Divide by 3, and so my y is 6. So ordered pair, negative 4, 6. You're going to pause the video and try the last one. So on the last one, notice again that our x's would not add together. So we would need to multiply by negative 1. So check your signs. Did you change this to a negative 7x, a positive 3y, and a negative 4? Now when I add my x's, it eliminates to 0. So now I'm going to combine these two and get positive 1y. Combine these two and get positive 1. So dividing by 1 would give me y equals 1. Then I'm going to put y equals 1 back into an equation. So I'm going to pick the top one again and put 1 in replace of y. So I have 7x minus 2 equaling 5 after I multiply. I'm going to add this 2 over to combine my like terms, and then divide by 7, so I get x equaling 1. So final answer I should have is 1, 1. So elimination is my favorite just because it's a little bit more simple in terms of process, but you have to make sure you watch your signs when you're multiplying a whole equation. So really pay attention to those details.